Well, the more things change, the more they stayed the same. Last year around the streets of Canberra, it was Mark King who won both races in GTP. And this year, look who's on pole for GT Performance. Once again, well done.
Yeah, thanks very much. The little Delphi Mitsubishi done a top job, and I guess I got a really good break.
Now, what's unusual looking at these timesheets is that it's dominated at the top end by these 4 cylinders.
Yeah, we're pretty nippy out of the little stop-start corners here, so we can carry better corner speed than the big V8s. I think that's our advantage.
Yeah, thanks, Rusty. Also, Tim Leahey carrying one of the onboards in the VW Beetle RSI, and also Wayne Boatwright in the Subaru WRX STI.
Big field getting set for competition here, and it's the second time that these cars have raced on this track. Mark King on pole in the Lancer Evo 5, the defending champion. Brett Peters alongside him. Boatwright and Peter Floyd on the 3rd row, and Trevor Schumack making a welcome return to competition. He's on the 3rd row.
Phil Polides well back, had his race car stolen after the Wakefield Park round, so Phil Kirkham has lent him his Mazda RX-7 for the weekend. And our Class B pole sitter, Nathan Thomas, the Honda Integra Type R.
Craig Baird is in this field. You'll see the big, beautiful Mustang out there. He is subbing for Mark Noske, who's had quite a bad accident and fractured his forearm, but they've flown down the Kiwi, and he is aboard the Mustang for this race.
Yes, it's going to be very, very interesting. The first of 2 races here at the GMC 400, both 7-lappers, as we sit with Tim Leahey in the VW Beetle RSI 2.8-litre V6, almost set for a start.
4-wheel drives on the front row, and maximum attack from Brett Peters as he storms off the line. King should have the inside running though. He has got it in the Delphi Evo 5 into turn 1 for the first time. It is King from Peters.
Yeah, Mike King under the record in qualifying, a 158.8.
Oh, look at that. Big problems there. Tim Leahey, that looks like Nathan Thomas just up ahead of him. That's the concertina effect as they come into turn 1. We should welcome Cameron McConville to the commentary box at this point, and that always seems to happen there, doesn't it?
Very much so, particularly when you have a full grid like GTP. We've seen it in V8 supercars, that corner very narrow, and if you're at the back of the field, you have to brake very early. Unfortunately, that happens.
Quite late in the afternoon here in Canberra for the GMC 400. Mark King well and truly in command. 0.8 of a second faster than Brett Peters in the Subaru STI, who had a win in one of the races at Wakefield Park recently.
He's the series newcomer, isn't he? He's no stranger to racing cars. Second in the championship points at the moment, coming into the Canberra round, but a little concerned about losing power. He reckons the hot air trapped between the concrete walls could have an effect on the turbo cars. I would have thought they would have relished the cold air here in Canberra. Back aboard with Tim Leahey down the inside. Yeah, Donis got a move on the inside, but this is a strong performance though from the VW.
Yeah, Donis started from the back of the grid. He actually blew an engine in practice, had to borrow one from Peter Floyd, so started well back. Not surprising, he wrapped up the VW in the first lap or so.
Good battle going on here between the Evo 5 and Brett Peters in the Subaru as they swing into the roundabout area down the end of Flynn Place. Some changes, Cameron McConville, to this part of the track.
Yes, the middle of that chicane there, just where we went through, is slightly wider. There's a little bit of extra concrete, so it makes the mid part of the corner wider. And this straight section right up in Flynn Place into the tight right-hand hairpin is a lot wider too, so it just makes it easier for overtaking, as we can see. Deep under brakes there. Oh, I think in too deep.
Oh, Bob Hughes.
Just into the tyre wall.
So Bob Hughes of the Evo 6, I think he might have been nailed from behind by Gary Dean. He was the guy on the outside, but just far too deep under brakes and has gone in and clouded the wall.
He carried some incredible speed down into that corner, didn't it? Nathan Thomas comes through, our Hippie Sports Touring class leader in the Honda Integra. Hughes trying to find a gap in the traffic, but with this huge field here, that's difficult to do.
Bob Hughes backed by the Australian National Museum here in Canberra this weekend, and I suspect it's because he's a relic, not a national treasure.
What's that on his cab?
Yeah, you can see the front. He was locked up there, just came in way too hot, and because he was quite tight coming into the corner, just physically couldn't turn in time. And I'm not sure if he did get a tap there. You can see he's just come in, I think, just way too hot, understeered out and into the tyre wall, and it's very wide, but you do have to slow the car down a fair bit for that particular hairpin.
Everyone taking evasive action to Bob Pearson and Barry Morcom, and the rest of them just managing to get around him.
So King continues to lead from Brett Peters, the Evo 5, leading the Subaru WRX Impreza. A bit of a lock up there from King. Oh, plenty of body language from the car too. In fact, King's in trouble.
He's clipped the... Oh, look at that. Look at the damage to the front end.
Now, he may well have clipped the wall on the exit from that corner.
Well, that left front wheel looks like it's about to come off. I'd say that it's either a wheel problem or totally ripped out that front suspension, because that could be the upright, it could be destroyed.
Let's keep in mind, too, that Mark Noske is out of this event with a fractured right forearm because he clipped a tyre barrier and rolled the Bud Ford Mustang. So maybe that's what's happened. Maybe King has clipped one of those tight barriers. It is just so tight here in parts around Canberra.
Yeah, again, riding with Bob Hughes as he's coming back through the field. Passes David Ratcliffe's little Celica on the left-hand side. King on the right-hand side.
Under brakes for Hughes. Can he outbrake the Celica? He does it. So Hughes on the fight-back trail once again.
Well, not a great start to Mark King's championship this year. Had problems at Wakefield Park where he got involved with an incident with Bob Hughes, and of course now being taken out of race 1 here at Canberra.
On the back of this field, this little battle going on. Here's Grant Kenny, the sole entry for that team this weekend. Scotty Jacob is here at the circuit, but they're only running 1 car, Craig.
Yeah, back for 2 cars, I think, for the next round of the championship at Queensland Raceway.
Pilkington, yeah.
Again with Bob Hughes.
Up in front of him is Pilkington. Oh, and he's tagged Matty Coleman by the looks of things in the VW. So Coleman has spun around. I wonder how much damage. Doesn't look like a huge amount of damage. May have just touched the wall.
Well, Matty's got the short packet sides just about every time he's brought this VW out this year.
He certainly hasn't had much luck, but just looking at that one there, I think he may have been innocent. It was just a slight touch from behind. The onus is on the overtaking drive to execute the pass with little, if not any, contact, and there was definitely contact there.
Well, Pilkington is running second in the Hippie Sports Touring class at the moment, so he's out after points. Now, look at this.
Yeah, look, just tagged him in the rear quarter panel up near the rear wheel arch. Certainly isn't far enough in to be a safe passing area. He was actually on the outside as well. So I'd say Matthew was a little bit hard done by there.
His teammate Timmy Leahey just ahead of them on the road. So this will put Coleman well and truly at the back of the field.
Now we've got some dramas here.
Phil Polides in the Mazda RX-7. Now that's a real shame.
It's only just 5 weeks after that devastating theft of his $250,000 Holden GTS and return, as Craig mentioned, to the series this weekend with a borrowed car from Phil Kirkham. Another RX-7 in the field. That is Bob Pearson, but he lost a lot of ground at that corner, didn't he?
Yeah, got really truly carved up there. Barry Morecambe ahead of him. Gary Dean on the inside. Looks like Steve Knight, his Evo 6 just behind the battle too.
Wayne Boatwright in the Subaru carrying lots of speed through this part of the circuit. Talk us through it, Cam.
Okay, now second gear, up to third gear. Flat out through here, that slight dab on the brakes just to put the weight over the front of the car. Very smooth surface there too, so you have to be very careful not to slide into the wall coming onto the front straight. He's in fourth gear, accelerating up here and hard on the brakes for that first chicane, but this particular sweeper here looks relatively straightforward, but you can see it is a very smooth surface. You can hear the tyres just squealing through there, and then it changes surfaces again coming onto the straight, so a very tricky part of the road.
So with Polides now out, this could change the championship point score too. Brett Peters has done very, very well running at the front of the field. Subaru's 1-2, watching Class B. Nathan Thomas in the Honda Integra Type R.
Well, Thomas at the moment is leading the sports touring class at this round. Keep in mind, Anthony Robson is actually on top of the point score, but he's a non-starter in Canberra after breaking a scaphoid bone in his wrist during a motocross accident very recently. So Nathan doing a good job. This will be valuable points for him.
Absolutely. Again, back with Bob Hughes, the Evo 6 chasing, it looks like Trevor Haynes' Subaru. Good drive from Bob, but back through the field after that earlier incident.
Coming up to the area between Old Parliament House and New Parliament House. They've done a lot of work, the organisers in Canberra here, Cam, haven't they? And they've made this particular transition, the next one, much smoother. It's not as bumpy as last year.
Yes, there was a big bump right there last year, and it's still there in some respects, but the surface on the way out is now smoother, so a lot of resurfacing around the circuit. Oh, big brake lock up there.
Floyd's in all kinds of trouble there, down into the turn from State Circle towards Flynn Place, and that's allowed Alexander to close the gap. Alexander, incidentally, was fastest in first practice for this round of the championship. Reckons that his rallying experience, where you had to line up the rally car between the trees, has helped immensely when you've got to line it up between the corners and the walls here.
Floyd's also lifted his game too, Rusty. I mean, he raced in the Nürburgring 24-hour race only a week ago and was running first outright in their class. The car didn't finish, but they still were classified as fourth, so he did a tremendous job, and he's really lifted his game this weekend. Qualified fourth fastest outright.
Look at the way Alexander is muscling this Evo 5 around the circuit. When you look back historically too, Craig, it was Mark King who was the man on top here last season, so the Evo 5 as a package seems to be well suited to Canberra.
Well, it's got the 17-inch wheels plus great brakes on these cars. There's no doubt about it. The Brembo package on the Evo 5 is better than anything out there. And this is really the track, I guess, Cam, where you do need those sort of brakes.
brakes and good traction, particularly, Craig. So to get a Commodore, the big heavier Commodore and Falcons in this class up to the sort of second and third row of the grid like Peter Floyd did in qualifying is a great effort, because this circuit is ideally suited for the all-wheel drive cars.
Peter Roma in the Mazda RX-7, Sue Hughes, the Quirks Refrigeration BMW. Good to see local businesses also getting behind the GMC 400. Simply Ceramics backing Sue Hughes has been here at Canberra this weekend.
Heading down the back straight towards the roundabout now. We jump back aboard with Wayne Boatwright. This has been an exceptional performance from him this afternoon at Canberra.
You hear the tyre squeal as it jumps out of the corners.
That is the best part of the racetrack, in my opinion, and that does just typify a all-wheel drive. You see just slingshot out of the corner. Probably would have gone back to first gear nearly, I'd say, and just use all the all-wheel drive there. This is very much a tunnel effect through this particular part of the circuit. Full throttle, up to 200 kilometres an hour, braking on an angle. So that's why you see a lot of brake lock up here, because you're braking and steering the car at the same time. And you can see the car lift up on two wheels there too, so that's a corner that drops right off cam, a very challenging part of the circuit.
Queensland's Brett Peters leading the way by almost 6 seconds at the moment. A guy who's had a lot of racing experience too, around about 20 years in both single-seaters and touring cars, so no stranger to this kind of competition, Craig.
Bob Hughes now set the fastest lap, 2 minutes, .02, so not quite down to Mark King's pole time, but certainly the fastest man on the track now as he comes back through the field.
Jump aboard with Tim Leahey in the VW Beetle RSI. Now that looks like Trevor Haynes just up ahead of him, so Haynes has got some sort of problem here, I'd say.
Yeah, he didn't qualify all that well, Trevor, so he's slowly falling back through the field, so I dare say he does have quite a major problem with the Subaru. Didn't make the last round at Wakefield Park, some problems after Adelaide.
Look at the way the VW is just reeling him in here, the 6-cylinder RSI. A little different to the 1.8 litre model sold here in Australia. A good package, and VW continuing their incredible support of this championship. It's a real factory effort.
So Peter Floyd, Graham Alexander still at it too as they come onto the main straight here at the GMC 400. Floyd moving over to cover his line.
Alexander having a real go at him, but Floyd will have the run up into the top corner. Final lap, so we're on our way home. Looking good for Brett Peters at the moment. All he's got to do is try and bring it home, but the battle for third here is a ripper.
Yeah, two very different motor cars around here, Cam, with a rear-wheel drive, almost 400 horsepower HSV, and the four-wheel drive.
Oh, contact! And Alexander has come off worse there.
Well, he was sitting very, very close to the back of Peter Floyd's Commodore there, and that is a big wide car to get past around here.
Bob Hughes in the brand new Evo 6. Making good use again of the 2-litre turbocharged engine and four-wheel drive traction.
Not the place to be here. He might struggle coming into this top turn. Shane Jenner holding him out. Oh, Jenner's run wide on that corner. Slingshot up the inside. So that's a over and under treatment, if you like, from Hughes.
Let's have a look on the replay, and you can see the Bud Mustang also coming through. But there's Jenner in car 31 in all sorts of problems. And unfortunately not seeing too much of the Bud Mustang this time around because of that rollover in qualifying. Mark Noske turned the car over, injured his wrist, and Craig Baird is having his real first drive at the car this weekend.
He's got a big weekend too, Craig Baird, because with Noske out, that means there's 2 drives for him. He's subbing in the Ferrari in the Nations Cup action, which we'll see a little later on this afternoon, but a terrific job at the moment from Peters. This battle for third. Floyd still holds the lead in it. But will Alexander have a last lap lunge at him?
Brand new car. This car was purchased at the start of the season. Also, we bought a new car at Adelaide for spare parts, so plenty of spares in Peter Floyd's garage as Brett Peters comes through Conica and about to come through the XR sweeper for the last time in this race at the GMC 400.
And on course to take out his second victory in GG Performance ranks. So Brett Peters comes across the start-finish line here in Canberra and will take it out. An excellent performance for the Queenslander. He wins the opening race today.
Yeah, great performance. Also Wayne Boatwright coming through to finish second in the Altiris Subaru WRX STI. And then Peter Floyd, the HSV 300, followed by Graham Alexander's Evo 5.
Looks like Ed Aiken there in the background. Yes, it is, in the My Accessory Commodore. He will pick up 5th position. So that's a good effort. And from what we can tell, the way the cars are on the circuit at the moment, Nathan Thomas should take things out in the sports touring class.
Gary Dean coming through now, followed by Barry Morecambe, Steve Knight, and there's Craig Baird in the top 10 too. So a good comeback from Craig Baird in the Bud Mustang.
Good performance as we jump aboard with Bob Hughes, who's had an incredible fight back through the field and fighting all the way to the line. In fact, the Dennis Gilbert looks as though Gilbert just held him out.
Yes, Bob Hughes would have a huge smile on his face now. Great result all the way from the back of the field. This is our Class B, the Sports Touring class leader, Nathan Thomas, in the Honda Integra Type R.
Lots of damage to that car, the Quirks refrigeration machine, but young Nathan, former champion in E-Class, or the baby car class, takes it out. Tim Leahey will get home second in that class, so the way they finished at the end of qualifying is the way they finished that race. Good battle there as well between Ratcliffe and Nathan Pilkington in the Mitsubishi.
Yeah, three very different types of motor cars there too.
Oh!
Peter Romer in all sorts of trouble on the last lap.
Trying to get past Trevor Haynes, and boy, didn't he launch that car, Cam.
See the front brakes.
Yeah.
That was certainly the last of the late breakers, but didn't come off for it.
Brett Peters is your winner, his second race win in the Century Batteries Championship. Good effort by Wayne Boatwright, Peter Floyd and Graham Alexander, third and fourth, and Gary Dean gets home sixth.
Going back through the field, Bob Hughes, good result to come inside the top 15. We talked about Craig Baird making the top 10 in the Bud Mustang as well. And our first, of course, Class B car home was Thomas, followed by Leahey, Ratcliffe and Nathan Pilkington.
Tough run for Trevor Haynes there, dropping to 22nd position. Wayne Russell, our Class B leader coming into this round, finished in 25th. And let's keep in mind as well, Phil Polides, a non-finisher in this one. He was the points leader coming into this round. Tough run also for defending champ Mark King. Back in a moment.
Hi, I'm Matt Coleman, driver of this Volkswagen RSI Beetle in the 2001 Australian Century Batteries GTP Championship. To celebrate Volkswagen's entry into this season, we are giving away a 1.8 turbo version of this fantastic machine.
That's right, Matthew. Keep watching Trackside and you could be the winner of the brand new 1.8 litre 5-speed turbocharged Volkswagen Beetle, valued at $42,000 on the road. All you have to do is call 1902 555 616 and tell us the car numbers of the two VW Beetles racing in the GT Performance category in today's races. The winner will be announced during the last episode of Trackside in December. Remember, just call 1902 555 616 and tell us the car numbers of the two Beetles in today's races. So buckle up, batten down the hatches and keep an eye open for the Beetles in today's GT Performance races on Trackside.
Race 2, round 3 of the Century Battery Australian GT Production Car Championship, riding with Tim Leahey, Bob Hughes in the Evo 6, and of course Wayne Boatwright in the Subaru Impreza WRX STI.
Boatwright had a terrific run in that opening race, and we'll keep a close eye out for him in this one. He starts on the front row alongside Brett Peters, who took out the opening race. Peter Floyd and Graham Alexander rode 2, Aiken, Gary Dean off the 3rd, and Morecambe and Knight on the 4th.
Watch car number 9, position 10, Craig Baird in the Budweiser Mustang from Grant Kenny and Don Pulver.
Nathan Thomas has pole in the sports touring car class, Class B, over Tim Leahey. Can Tim Leahey turn it around in this one? A good second place in the opening race.
Quite a few also starting from the back of the grid too, Rusty. Bob Pearson, Phil Polides after a fuel pump failure of all things earlier today, Craig Donis, Mark King and Matty Coleman.
Yeah, Coleman had a tough run in the opening race. In fact, he's been having a tough season so far in the VW Beetle. Boatwright, an excellent performance in the opening race. Hughes, what a terrific fight back we saw from him. Fought from virtually the back of the field. Away we go in the second race of the day. Brilliant start by Boatwright, but I think you'll find it'll be Peters who'll get the run into turn 1 for the first time. Peters out-muscles Boatwright and takes the lead.
Alexander back there in 3rd. Looks like it's Peter Floyd who's moved up to 4th. Gary Dean 5th, then Ed Aiken in his HSV Commodore.
Morecambe under siege there. Craig Baird trying to fight his way through in the Budweiser Ford Mustang as we welcome Cameron McConville back to the commentary box. And this is a better part of the track now, Cam, with those changes they've made to the circuit.
Yeah, it's been very slippery, as you can see there on the opening lap conditions. Still very cool here. Track temperature will be down, particularly around here where they've resurfaced the track, and pretty much single file. Everyone looks as though they're getting through without any incident. We could see Craig Baird trying to find a way through, but probably a little bit easier to let the cars sort themselves out for a few laps.
So this will be the second race of 7 laps here this weekend for the Century Batteries Australian GT Production Car Championship. Of course, Brett Peters won the earlier race from Wayne Boatwright, and good to see the two Subarus bouncing back at the front of the field.
Four-wheel drive turbocharged cars dominated the opening race, Cam, but a couple of the guys are a little concerned that the heat from the cars getting trapped between the concrete walls might affect the turbo performance. I would have thought that wouldn't have been an issue around Canberra.
Not particularly now that the temperature or the ambient temperature is down, but if you following a car very closely, or there's a gaggle of 5 or 6 cars, then you might find they have to start pulling out to get clean air as the race goes on. But certainly the first lap of this race, the turbo cars up in front have pretty much a clean run.
This is Wayne Boat riding the car owned by Michael Sainsbury. He's done a great job with this car. He had a big crash at Bathurst last year when he looked like he could have been a real star there. He's bounced back so far in the championship and well and truly in the points.
Floyd back in 4th position. Alexander is in 3rd. There's Dean over Aiken as they sweep through this section of the track that really does change, doesn't it, from one camber to the other?
It does. It drops off camber as you come out of the corner. Then you come into this fast right-hander, which is very enjoyable to drive on. Quite camber too. Very much like a double apex. You run down to the curb, onto the front straight there, and out towards the wall.
Stevie Knight doing a great job with the Evo 6 all the way from Adelaide, running on quite old tyres this weekend, but he's been relatively competitive in what's been a brand new car this season for him.
Peters up in front. This is Bob Hughes fighting again with Dennis Gilbert, just as he was at the very end of the opening race into this top turn. And it's so hard to pass there.
Well, you need to be right alongside the car into the braking area, which he wasn't, so he goes through the left-hand corner. Now, Gilbert's on the inside, so he really won't be able to pass here, because it's a quick right-left. Just touching the curbs is the best way through there, out towards the wall. Through here in 3rd gear again, and again watching the curbs. Now the road drops off camber there, very easy to get tailies. We've seen it claim other cars, particularly Stokely in the Nations Cup.
Very much four-wheel drive territory at the front of the field at the moment. Graham Alexander going through in his Evo 5. And of course the Holden Commodore 300 kilowatt cars of Aitken. Floyd ahead of him on the road. And I'm actually quite surprised at how quick the Commodores are around this track this weekend, Cam.
They are now. I am particularly surprised, I've got to say, because it is such a hard track on brakes and very tight. Maybe the acceleration certainly helps them with the 5-litre or the 5.7-litre V8 engines. The Chevy engine in the Commodores really giving them a lot of acceleration out of the turns.
At the back of the field, Craig Baird of the Mustang. Oh, a bit of argument there over territory. Stevie Knight being pushed wide. Grant Kenny in there as well.
Oh, gee, I'd say there's a bit of bashing going on there.
That's your old mate Trevor Shoemaker involved in all of that.
And Baird trying to stay clear of all that. The Budweiser Mustang has had its share of dramas already this weekend, with Mark Noski having a rollover. Now we jump aboard with Tim Leahey. What's going on here?
Looks like into the wall there. I think he may have been hit from behind, and possibly the Celica of David Ratcliffe just giving him a bit of a tap there.
This is a replay of the Trevor Shoemaker incident with Steve Knight. Kenny, he comes across and clobbers Kenny on the right-hand side.
You can see from that shot that Craig Baird was about 3 or 4 positions in behind. Look at what he's been able to do. Courtesy of that incident, he's been able to move his way forward in the Budweiser Mustang.
Yeah, big ask for Craig Baird. He hadn't driven the car at all until qualifying. All he got was 7 laps in, then into his first race. And he slowly worked his way forward. In fact, he's now within 0.5 of a second at the fastest times.
Heading towards the start-finish line once again. One point we probably should make clear to our viewers at home is that this is the GT Performance ranks. It's not like Nations Cup, Craig. There have been some changes to the structure of the championship this year.
Yeah, A and B have been split out on a class on their own, which is what you're seeing here. And then classes C, D and E are running in a separate set of races, Rusty, for what we're now calling the GT Production Championship. So they'll be the next round of the championship at Lakeside in a few weeks' time.
Dennis Gilbert and Bob Hughes in this pack, which also contains Craig Baird. Up towards the old Parliament House area of the circuit. This is where they've smoothed the surface out. Very bumpy on the entry here last season. There's still quite a transition, as Cameron McConville said before, but it's not as bad as last year.
So again, riding with Bob Hughes, chasing down Don Pulver in the Nissan NSX, the 200 Spec-R car, which was heavily damaged at Adelaide, missed Wakefield Park, but back in the championship this weekend.
Back aboard with Bob Hughes, heading up the hill towards State Circle, Cam.
Into the tight right-hander here. Very easy to understeer or lose front grip and run wide. You can see that shell helix part of the wall sticks out there, so very easy to touch that, as you saw Tim Leahey in the Volkswagen earlier. A very big drag strip here, best to stay wide, so you've got very good visibility coming into the braking area. And look at Baird, looks like he may try and have a look down the inside, not quite. It's a very big car to pull up around here.
Brakes on Steve Knight's Evo 6 just in front of him, doing the job. Again, riding with Tim Leahey in the Volkswagen Beetle RSI.
Now, keep in mind he's had a moment. He did finish second in the sports touring class in the opening race. The win in the class going to Nathan Thomas, so the fact that Leahey's had a moment, that won't be helping his championship.
In fact, the time screens show that David Ratcliffe in the Toyota Celica is actually leading the class from Thomas, and then I think Pilkington and Leahey.
They've had a lot of development on that Celica. David Ratcliffe has been working very hard, and good to see that he's able to come up and find some speed out of that car now.
Former C-Class winner, David Ratcliffe. Then it was in a Toyota Camry this season, stepped up to the new Toyota Celica.
Bob Hughes closing on the back of Don Pulver.
I'm surprised by that power of that 200SX in front. It really, oh, and he's left a hole though coming into turn one. Bob Hughes goes down the inside and looks like he's pulled it off. So he was struggling for a bit of straight line speed, but the last of the late breakers there just was able to find a gap.
You could see from the in-car there up ahead of him just the sort of brake lock-up that Craig Baird was having in the Ford Mustang. So I wonder how that'll be going in the latter stages of this race around a circuit like this.
I'd say that car would be quite hard on its brakes over the distance. He'll just have to wait and see if he can keep the best out of them, but certainly a very, very heavy car to pull up. Lots of hard braking and a couple of first gear chicanes around here.
Shepherd having a look, and it looks like might be Wayne Russell in behind him. Russell made a clean sweep of things at the last round of the championship in the sports touring class, but a bit further down the order at the moment.
Yeah, he's been battling and missing the car all weekend. Not a female type, but a crank sensor problem with the car, so that's why the...
Oh, dramas for Tim Leahey. He's gone right across the grass there. I don't know what happened. One moment he was riding cleanly on the track, the next moment he's up across the grass, and both Shepherd and Russell have gone through.
Yeah, hard to pick up what actually happened there. Back with our race leader, Brett Peters. What a great job this man is doing. 36 years of age from Queensland. He's a photographic equipment retailer. He's raced Formula Ford, was the 1991 Bathurst Rookie of the Year, fourth at Bathurst in 1992, and won the Sandown 6-hour race for Porsche, of all things, back in 1993.
Let's have another look at this.
Well, I think he had a little bit of a lose there. I doubt there was any contact, just the car got taily and he aborted the mission, tried to correct it and straighten the car up, took the curve, I suppose, thought it was the safest way rather than having a complete spin.
Back aboard again with Bob Hughes. Yellow flags being waved. Oh, there's someone who's had a spin there. That's
Kenny.
Grant Kenny. Grant Kenny's had a moment on the exit of State Circle where they come down Flynn Drive or Flynn Place for the first time, and he's lost the front of the car in the process.
Bob Hughes was very lucky there. You could see he only saw it at the last minute, swerved left, and I think he may have lost a position out of that as well.
Well, Grant can't do anything right this year. He and Scotty Jacob have had absolute shockers to the start of this year's Century Batteries Championship.
Now, here's what happened. Boy, he was lucky not to flip that car over.
Again, being tapped in the rear quarter panel, the car on the outside there, just touching, probably no room to go through side by side on the outside, and Grant Kenny lost out.
So Brett Peters continues to lead back in the sports touring class. David Ratcliffe with the new Toyota Celica. Sensational looking car with about the same kind of power as the Honda Integra Type R. In fact, that's Ratcliffe, then Pilkington behind him, then Nathan Thomas. So this is first, second and third in the class.
Just doing the numbers here too. In terms of the sports touring class, if Pilkington can't hold off Thomas at the end of this race, look at the way he's under siege at the moment. If Thomas can find some way past, these two will actually share the lead in the championship. So Thomas, look at him throwing out a challenge here. He knows this is vital in terms of the point score, heading down towards the end of State Circle, and Thomas slides up the inside.
Yeah, nice classy move from young Nathan Thomas from Sydney, and good to see Pilkington also continuing to be so competitive too in GTP.
Yeah, he's been a welcome addition to the championship in the Mitsubishi, hasn't he? Look at the gap they've got over Shepherd as well.
Yeah, Shepherd under siege from Wayne Russell in the BMW. As we see Nathan Thomas with backing from Peter Boylan to continue his championship chase this year. As we ride again with Tim Leahey in the VW Beetle just behind Shepherd and Wayne Russell.
Good fight back from Tim Leahey, considering the dramas he's had in this race. Things could have been better for the Volkswagen team. Would have been 2 second places in this class for young Tim Leahey, a guy who's coming up through the ranks in driving terms, has raced in V8 supercars as well.
Yeah, Don Pulver in trouble in the Nissan 200 Spec-R. Was running quite well earlier. Yeah, race leader, look at him. Brett Peters. In fact, I think Boat Ride was closed a little bit over the last lap or two. He's just set fastest lap with a 1:58.02. Then Peters, Floyd and Dean.
Peter Roma going for a shortcut once again. That's the second time across the weekend that he's taken a shortcut there.
Gave the crowd a wave on the way through.
Yes, from Queensland, he and Danielle, his lovely wife, back in GTP for a full tilt of this year's championship season, which is really great to see.
Excellent drive from Boat Trite this afternoon. Has really been on a mission since he arrived here in Canberra. Look at the way he's closing. We're heading for the checkered flag here. He's going to run out of options, I think, Cam, but gee, he's really had a good go, hasn't he?
He's given it absolutely everything he can, but Brett Peters, what an experienced driver this guy is. He's so smooth, gets out on cold tyres quick, gets a gap early, and he's really been home and hosed ever since.
That approach pays big dividends. His second win of the weekend for Brett Peters. Great performance, and Wayne Boatwright home in second position.
Interesting that Peters should now move to the top of the championship points too, as Graham Alexander comes through to finish third. So it's four-wheel drives, first, second and third. Then the first of the Holden Commodores, followed by Gary Dean in his Subaru.
Strong performance there by Peter Floyd. Here's Bob Hughes heading toward the start-finish line. Has really been behind the 8-ball after that lose in race one, but what a great fight back nonetheless.
Yeah, Steve Knight just ahead of him on the road. Also a good performance from him. As you see the rest of the field coming through. Dave Wood in the Robert Lane Honda S2000. Trevor Haynes well back, not being his weekend. And of course Mark King, who's had to come through from the back of the grid.
Yep, what a costly weekend it has been for Mark King, the defending champion and the man who won on the streets here of Canberra last year. What a great battle going on in the sports touring class all the way to the checkered flag. David Ratcliffe will take it out, but Nathan Thomas moves into an equal share of the lead in the championship with the man just in behind him, Nathan Pilkington.
Yeah, another lap might have made a difference, but great to see David Ratcliffe giving Toyota another win. Of course, the MR2 has been pretty dominant in the first two rounds of the championship, so it's Toyota 1, 2, 3. And Brett Peters, our outright race winner from Wayne Boatwright. Graham Alexander, Peter Floyd, Gary Dean, Barry Morecambe, Craig Baird, well into the top 7, and Steve Knight.
First of the Class B competitors, as we mentioned, was in fact David Ratcliffe. Good performance by Craig Dontis, finishing in 10th. Bob Pearson, 15th.
Nice result for Nathan Pilkington in the FTO to finish third in his class. Then Alan Shepherd, Wayne Russell, Tim Leahey in the VW Beetle RSI, Colin Osborne also in the Toyota Celica.
There's a few retirements in this round, wasn't there, including the man who led the championship coming into Canberra, Philip Polides. Back with more on your home of motorsport in just a moment.
Well, congratulations, Brett Peters. Out of the GMC 400, you're now leading the championship. Bit of a surprise for the Subaru STI.
Yeah, it really is. We thought we'd go well here, but didn't quite think that well. It's definitely a four-wheel drive track, and the car was just great all weekend.
I guess you must be now pretty hungry for a potential championship win.
Yeah, I think we'll have it a bit tough over the faster tracks, but the difference will be that we've got to try and now consolidate and just score points consistently.
Well, he's taken that approach so far in the championship, and look how it's paid dividends for him. A sizable lead over former championship leader Philip Polides.
Gary Dean's moved into third spot from last year's champion Mark King. Peters also leading the high performance class. Nathan Thomas leading the sports touring class from Nathan Pilkington.
Yeah, that pole position point really helping Nathan Thomas. The championship points in terms of the manufacturers, Holden on top. 13 points the difference though between Mitsubishi and Ford.